The lecture hall smelled of ozone and polished ambition. Dean Sirach's Velorth clicked four chitinous claws against the slate board, drawing luminous equations that spiraled like constellations. Each glow glyph represented centuries of Chiluvian scholarship. Together they formed an arrow that pointed unambiguously away from Earth. "Observe," the dean trilled, voice multi-layered like a pipe organ exhaling disdain. "Terran cranial capacity, modest. Radiant output of cultural artifacts, chaotic. Median casualty rate during technological innovation, alarmingly high." The auditorium, 200 alien cadets of 15 species, rumbled with polite laughter. Xerax tapped a final glyph. A hololith of a blue-green marble rotated, punctuated by mushroom cloud icons. Humans advance by explosion. They court catastrophe as a mating dance. Endearing? Perhaps. Scalable? Hardly. In the back row, Cadet Volk Vetha's tail twitched, but he kept silent, hiding the Terran band poster etched inside his locker. The dean swept a claw, summoning maps of Imperial space. "Tomorrow's Tachyon Gate demonstration shall confirm what statistics already declare. The Terran knack is luck mislabeled as genius. Their delegation will witness divinity and, I trust, retain applause for their betters." A final flourish, a bow, an echo of self-congratulation. None questioned the premise. The universe, after all, obeyed Chiluvian math. Humans just hadn't learned to count correctly. Day of the demonstration, the gate chamber unfurled like a cathedral built by engineers drunk on infinities. A silver torus a kilometer wide floated above a sea of superconductors. Power conduits pulsed magenta. Every pulse was a promise. "We bend spacetime. You watch." The Terran delegation entered last. Four figures in plain white utility suits that looked better suited for a machine shop than a galactic spectacle. Dean Xerax noted the lack of ceremonial attire, with the pity one reserves for rain-soaked strays. "Welcome," he intoned. "Feel free to take notes." Dr. Lena Ortiz smiled, produced an honest-to-stars paper notebook, and began sketching the torus with quick charcoal strokes. Beside her, Mac Taggart set a hard-case satchel on the floor. Its hazard stickers featured a shark, a wrench, and something that might have been a laughing penguin. Sequence Alpha commenced. Plasma streams arced. Containment fields hummed bass notes that rattled bones. Spectators donned filter goggles. Humans slipped on tinted safety glasses, bought, Volk suspected, at a hardware store. "Energy levels nominal," reported the Trinity-minded AI chorus. Xerax raised two arms in triumph. "Behold the fabric of reality rendered pliable." The torus flared, then shivered. "Minor harmonic deviation," the chorus noted. Correcting. Deviations became spikes. Spikes became screams of data. Containment failed. Magenta turned ultraviolet. Gravity lines kinked like snapped cables. The torus dented inward, hungry. Sirens howled. Cadets scattered. Shields dropped over dignitary booths, except the human box, whose manual override Mac had disabled the moment he sat down. "Force fields mess with my pacemaker," he'd muttered. Lena closed her notebook with a sigh that sounded more curious than afraid. "Mac, toolkit," she said. The chief popped the satchel. Out came duct tape, a collapsible crowbar, 3 fist-sized lithium reactor bricks, a laptop plastered with submarine squadron stickers, and, because why not, a bag of peppermint gum. Dean Sirach's watched, mind skidding from confusion toward indignation. "Dr. Ortiz, evacuation is mandatory." She removed her glasses. Her eyes were calm tide pools. "Gate's going to implode, Dean. Evac's not fast enough. We fix or we die." And that, Volk realized with carnivorous delight, was the first hairline fracture in Chiluvian certainty. Mac tossed Lena a multi-tool. She vaulted the spectator rail as though gravity were optional. Static storms crackled. Chunks of molten alloy rained like meteor sweat. "Vector the feedback," she yelled over the roar. "Need a Faraday cage big enough to hug the Singularity's baby sister." "Roger," Max said, perfectly deadpan, as he chewed peppermint and began spitting wrappers onto strips of tape. Xerax stared. "That cannot possibly—" A secondary explosion punched the air out of the chamber. Emergency seals fluttered shut, but not before a gale force vortex slammed the Dean against a console. He tasted copper and panic. When his vision cleared, he saw Lena halfway up a service scaffold, hammering copper bus bars into place with the crowbar, while quoting, of all things, Terran jazz lyrics. Take five, and keep swinging. Mac, meanwhile, wired the reactor bricks into the gate's now exposed nerve cluster. Power readouts surged, dipped, then found a new equilibrium that the AI chorus labeled impossible 12 different ways. Alien technicians gawked, paralyzed by doctrine. Human hands moved too quickly to tally, driven by instinct older than their species. Fix the broken, damn the odds. Sirax forced himself upright. What are you doing? Teaching the Taurus to breathe, Lena replied. Your design chokes on microflux. We're adding lungs. She did not slow her work. In 63 seconds, the singularity seed hits runaway magnitude. Give me 70, and I give you a stable baby star instead. Volk felt his dorsal plates flash cold and hot. Humans were rewriting the final exam while the test was still running. The gate shrieked like metal dreaming of teeth. Sheets of violet plasma slammed against magnetic rails and ricocheted as lightning spiders that clawed at the ceiling. Mac Taggart, peppermint still tucked in his cheek, rammed the final reactor brick into a ragged slot, then slapped duct tape across live circuitry with the casual grace of a man fixing a coffee maker. Sparks leapt. His beard smoked. He didn't blink. Lena, he barked. Gauge, she answered, hammering the crowbar into a makeshift bus bar coupler. He flipped the laptop toward her, graph lines jittering like terrified seismographs. Pulse width still spiking 23 sigma, she said. Need conductive ballast. Mac's eyes roamed the chaos, landed on the seat rails of the evacuated VIP gallery. Shiny duraluminum. He grinned. Field trip souvenir coming up. With 3 wrench swings, he liberated a rail section taller than Volk, hefted it like a spear, and jogged toward the singularity cage. Dean Sirax sputtered, Human, that alloy is not rated for... Clang. Mac jammed the rail between 2 humming pylons. Plasma clawed at the metal, curled inward, and abruptly quieted. The gate's roar dropped an octave. Status icons flipped from terminal crimson to wavering amber. Lena exhaled the breath she'd been saving for emergencies. Good boy, Mac winked. Fetch, sit, save universe. Same commands as my dog. A swirl of data poured across the laptop. Lena's charcoal dust fingertips flew across the keys, rerouting current like a conductor sculpting symphonies from mathematics. For a heartbeat, it worked. Then the gate changed its mind. Something inside the Taurus snapped. Not metal, something more fundamental. The event horizon blossomed black petals, each reflecting stars that shouldn't exist inside a lab. The AI chorus, voice now warbling, announced, Quantum topology divergence detected. Seek metaphysical assistance. Sirax's mandibles clattered. Metaphysical? No grant proposal covered that. Lena smacked the laptop. It's trying to birth a wormhole and a nova simultaneously. Greedy little donut. Options? Mac asked. Starve it or feed it. Half measures die. Feed it is, Mac said, already unzipping his utility vest. Out came a coil of copper tubing, a thermal knife, and 2 half-liter canisters marked danger, pressurized hydrogen. Volk, pressed against the console, gasped. That will breach safety protocols 12 through 19. It's okay, Max said. We skipped protocols 1 through 11 minutes ago. He welded tubing to the makeshift rail, building a crude injector. Hydrogen hissed, became sapphire fire, and poured into the heart of the singularity. Every alien instrument howled. Readouts crossed from physics into poetry. Mass sings. Light weeps. Lena monitored. Temperature stable. Space-time shear. Trending tolerable. She grinned, a flash of white predatory joy. Congratulations, Mac. You just fed a baby star its bottle. Panicked technicians finally regrouped near the observation pit. One, a crystalline Klin, shouted, Humans, cease all actions. Shaluvian Science Authority invokes executive override. Mac tossed him a dead laptop battery. Override that. The battery clanged to the floor, sparking. The Clin shrieked an octave audible only to glass. Dean Syrax clawed at the emergency intercom. Security! Restrain them! But security drones had already tried. Two lay fused to the deck in sizzling puddles. A human had attached them nose to nose, polarity reversed, turning them into a ground loop that siphoned stray charge from the gate. Effective. Terrifying. Lena glanced at Syrax. Dean, either assist or stand somewhere safe. And by safe, I mean another galaxy. The Dean opened and closed mandibles, then did something unheard of in Chiluvian social protocol. He yielded authority. What? What do you require? Graphene spools, 50 meters, Lena said, never halting her barrage of keystrokes. And any superconducting braid under 2 millimeter width. Syrax relayed the order. Cadets sprinted. A century of hierarchical rigidity shattered in one sentence, because a human told it so. Volk followed them, tail whipping with giddy treason. Graphene arrived, spools taller than Cadet Volk. Lena slashed each open with Mac's thermal knife, weaving sheets into a ragged cloak around the torus. It looked like a spider trying to patch the moon with cobwebs. Mac jury-rigged coil anchors from clamp lights and chewing gum epoxy. Light burst where the graphene touched the torus, spreading ember veining across the cloak. The gate groaned, then settled. The Singularity's petals folded inward, pacified for the first time since catastrophe. Sweat dripped from Lena's jaw. Coppery steam rose from Mac's arms where plasma flare had singed hair. Silence descended. Lena allowed herself a single deep breath. Stasis achieved. Now we teach it manners. Step 1, she said, ticking air with grease-blackened finger. Recalibrate the L tensor so it stops trying to eat parallel realities. Step 2, coax power curve into a gentle hyperbola. Mac cracked his neck. That's the easy step? Easier than step 3, which is convince an academy full of aliens that this, she gestured at smoking wreckage and a newborn star in a cage, is the new lab syllabus, not a crime scene. Mac chuckled. Public relations, worst battlefield. They got to work. Recalibration. Mac rotated the makeshift Faraday cage on its gimbal mounts, improvised from spectator swivel chairs, while Lena injected microsecond pulses of magnetron resonance, singing numeric lullabies the gate could understand. Power curve. Volk, eyes wide, ferried superconducting braid as instructed, weaving it into a Mobius strip feedback path that redirected excess joules into harmonic storage rings. Once ornamental, now vital. Every minute a new subsystem lit green. Every green square turned the hush of the chamber into reverent awe. All gauges hovered within nominal, if nominal could apply to physics that yesterday lived only in thought experiments. Lena snapped her notebook shut. Quantum flux under threshold. Containment integrity, 96%. Mac checked his wrist chronometer. Time from meltdown to miracle. 15 minutes, 42 seconds. That's got to be a fleet record. Cadet Volk whispered, You just rewrote 6 textbooks with duct tape. Lena shrugged. Tools are tools. She turned to Dean Syrax. Phase 3, complete. Your gate is stable, though vastly different. Think of it as upgraded firmware. Syrax's mandibles hung limp. This cannot be. Your species lacked prior exposure to tachyon topologies. How did you? Lena wiped sweat, leaving a dark streak across her brow. We're generalists. You give us an engine, we learn to drive while it's on fire. The Dean collapsed into a grav chair, legs trembling. Around him, technicians updated status boards with frantic humility. Implement Terran Stabilization Protocol 1.0. The gate sat quiet, too quiet. Gone was the banshee shriek of overexcited spacetime. In its place pulsed a low, contented heartbeat that resonated through deck plates and carapaces alike. Dean Syrax's private console drowned beneath telemetry. A wall of green numbers scrolled past faster than thought. Buried in the torrent was an alarming fact. Efficiency exceeded theoretical maximums by 312%. Chiluvian doctrine said maximum meant maximum. Humans apparently negotiated with words like impossible, the way children negotiated bedtime. Cadet Volk slid a data slate across the console. Dean, the gate now self-corrects harmonic drift. It's alive, but cooperative. Xerax's mandibles clicked hysteria. Show me proof. Volk tapped playback. The singularity within the torus adjusted its spin each time Lena coughed, her vocal vibrations nudging microflux patterns into smoother symmetry. A human's breath had become part of the control loop. Xerax whispered, "They bonded with it." The Dean opened a secure hololink to the Galactic Council. 12 avatars flickered, energy beings, cephalopods, sapient nebulae. Xerax delivered a compressed account. Failure, human intervention, current status. Counselor Severin, gas giant Leviathan, voice like hurricanes in caves, thundered, "You ceded control of classified technology to primitives?" Xerax bowed antennae. "Under duress." Another avatar, Ambassador Crash of the High Logic Fold, exuded disdainful clarity. "Containment now depends on Terran improvisation. This is tactically untenable. Remove the humans." Xerax glanced at the gate, where Lena traced blueprints mid-air, refining resonance as casually as doodling. Remove her and the torus might sulk, or snack on local spacetime. "With respect," he said, "Terrans are containment." The council erupted in overlapping directives. Quarantine, seize, dissect. Through the chaos, a quieter channel chimed, "Dean, listen." It was Counselor Amiel of the Seraphic Kin, rumored pacifists. Her crystalline eyes carried reflected starlight. "Observe first, judge later." The feed cut. Xerax stood alone with doubt and curiosity. By now, half the academy crowded observation decks. Everyone recorded. Claws, tendrils, photonic nodules, clicking notes. Professors whispered equations never imagined. Dr. Lena Ortiz projected the new gate diagram, a Mobius helix of energy, impossible in Euclidean models yet plainly real. She stepped back so aliens could inspect. "Questions?" she asked. A dozen limbs rose. Professor Garanta, avian, 3 beaks, Flutter screeched, "Your damping algorithm contradicts conservation rules. Explain." Lena shrugged. "We convert rotational tachyon bleed into localized negative mass, briefly, then bleed that into Hawking echo flux, which outputs directional entanglement. Net zero plus useful push." Dead silence. Half the hall opened translation windows, certain they'd misheard. Mac Taggart chimed from the scaffold. "Think of it like using fart jokes to solve quantum constipation." Laughter, uneasy but genuine, rippled. Humor cut terror's throat. Volk whispered to nearby cadets, "Take notes. This is our new gospel." Dean Xerax wandered catwalks, chronicling alien faces. He saw a Maranth brood triad, their telepathic lattice quivering with awe. A steel-skinned Brack war scribe quietly deleting a lecture he'd planned titled "Human Exceptionalism, Statistical Fluke." First-year students huddling around captured duct tape strips like holy relics. Each expression mirrored the same, spreading revelation. "We misjudged the Deathworlders." Xerax's own heartbeat drummed apology into exoskeletal ribs. Centuries of data had said humans were chaotic, brittle. The data was still correct, yet utterly inadequate. Chaos wasn't weakness. It was a multi-tool. He looked up. Lena balanced on a rail, black hair drifting in ion breeze as she calibrated the star crumb within the torus. Her posture was casual, almost bored. Unconscious competence. The phrase from Terran psychology text hit him like cold nova light. They weren't flaunting genius. They genuinely thought this normal. A shiver ran down his dorsal ridge. What then counts as extraordinary to a human? The dean convened an emergency colloquium. Himself, 4 senior theoreticians, and Lena. Holograms of energy diagrams hovered. Chaluvian scholar Vorath insisted, "This outcome merely reveals hidden variables. Given time, we could have achieved similar." Lena munched a protein bar. "Sure, but the gate would have imploded 5 minutes ago, so time seems relevant." Vorath bristled. "Statistically, Statistics don't dig you out of rubble, Mac muttered. Xerax raised a claw. Enough, he faced Lena. Doctor, would humanity share the full stabilization protocol? She frowned as if asked whether fire should be shared with cold hands. Yeah, knowledge wants to be useful. We'll package it once Mac's finished labeling steps that aren't OSHA compliant. Mac flashed thumbs up while scribbling Step 17. Threatened device with sledgehammer. Optional but motivating. The alien scholars tried desperately to fit new facts into old frameworks. Perhaps humans excel only under reckless pressure? Perhaps their biology tolerates cognitive stress differently? Each hypothesis crumbled when confronted with the gate's serene hum, a monument to results over reasons. Dean Xerax realized the dangerous truth. It didn't matter how humans did it, only that they could. And in any contest of survival, ability beat philosophy. The ground beneath his worldview shifted. He steadied himself on a rail still warm from human hands. A broadcast iris opened over the gate chamber. Academy Newsnet lived to 10,000 worlds. The anchor, augmented slime mold with impeccable diction, appeared. Viewers, we interrupt scheduled lectures. You witness history. The first Terran stabilized tachyon gate. Moments ago, Dean Xerax acknowledged that human intervention prevented catastrophe. We go now to a statement. Xerax stepped forward, voice reverberating with resigned reverence. To all students, faculty, and the Galactic Council, today we learned humility. The Academy formally recognizes Terran methodology as integral to transspatial engineering. Effective immediately, humanity joins the Gate Oversight Directorate as full partners. Gasps became cheers, except from a minority who saw power slipping through claws. Lena waved awkwardly at the camera. Hi, Mom. Galaxies away, a cafe on Earth erupted in applause. Council dispatches arrived within minutes. Diplomatic couriers, trade envoys, covert intelligence probes disguised as flower arrangements. But the most striking came from Amiel of the Seraphic Kin. A crystalline avatar appeared before Lena. Terran daughter, Amiel sang, chords shimmering, we request apprenticeships under your tutelage. Teach us the art of creative recklessness. Lena blinked. We charge by the hour? The avatar laughed, a falling waterfall chime. Name your terms, innovator. Mac leaned over. Start with hazard pay. 2 hours later, orbit of Arcturus 4. Emergency session, Galactic Council Chamber. A ring of floating thrones faces a holographic image of the now stable gate. Delegates whisper, click, pulse light. The phrase Terran stabilization appears in 179 languages, then cross-translates to one universal sentiment. Humanity just changed the rules. Counselor Severin's cyclone voice thunders, if 4 humans can rewrite tachyon engineering in 15 minutes, imagine a fleet. Ambassador Kreisch counters, and imagine if we drive them away. Their methods could uplift us all. Beneath neutral tone lies naked fear, or destroy us. Resolutions tabled. Fast-track Terran science exchange. Establish joint security protocols, humans as equal lead. Commission threat analysis codenamed Project Firefly. Every motion passes, unanimously. Nothing in Council history moves so fast. Sol system, Luna terminal. News breaks. Earthlings react with trademark variety. Politicians call emergency pressers, claiming prior knowledge. Hackers crash stock markets, replacing tickers with dancing duct tape emojis. A Minecraft server updates with a tachyon gate block. Children teleport pigs across realms. At her mother's bakery in Bogota, a holo-TV shows Lena's sooty grin. Mrs. Ortiz drops a tray of conchas, then laughs until she cries. On a decommissioned submarine in dry dock Norfolk, old shipmates lift beers to McTaggart. Someone scrawls on the hull, subs save universes too. Recruitment offices swarm with applicants clutching rolls of duct tape for the entrance exam. Not everyone applauds. Inside a derelict freighter beyond Pluto, the Praxian Compact, a cartel of arms dealers, meets. Their monopoly on slip-drive dampers evaporated the moment Terran schematics hit Netwave. They must never release full protocol, hisses Director Verk. Stage a failure, blame human recklessness, restore status quo, plan insert a virus into the gate's newborn AI core, nudge it back to instability, let fear finish the job. Insertion team, 3 Praxian polymorphs, 1 stolen council research badge, 0 comprehension of what they're tampering with. Academy midnight. Lena and Volk monitor system logs. 1 for science, 1 out of fanboy insomnia. A flicker. Unauthorized packet stream tunneling through maintenance node. Volk stiffens. Security, he asks. Humans first, Lena answers. They sprint. Mac is already there. He sleeps in the gate chamber now, hammock tied between support beams. He hears the stealth hatch hiss, drops like a stone on the first infiltrator, and applies the universal shutdown command, a fist to the snoot. Fight, polymorph number 1 shifts into liquid. Mac Flash freezes it with liquid nitrogen fire extinguisher. 2 unveils energy blade. Volk intercepts with graphene spool, blade shorts, Praxian screeches. 3 hacks AI. Lena inserts her own code. If hostile, then reroute violator mass to negative space buffer. The AI obeys. Praxian number 3 vanishes with a pop and a smell of burnt cinnamon. No corpse, just empty boots. Mac whistles. That's one way to take out the trash. Dean Syrax arrives with security drones 10 seconds late, finds humans cleaning up. He sees the future. Every security doctrine will now footnote, consult Terrans. The next day, Great Rotunda Auditorium. A new plaque gets unveiled, the Terran principle. Progress favors the prepared improviser. Lena delivers keynote, will open source the stabilization code. 3 rules. 1, cite your sources. 2, improve responsibly. 3, send snacks. Mac teaches a masterclass titled Duct Tape Dynamics, Adhesive as Epistemology. Attendance exceeds fire code. He shrugs and does it anyway. Dean Syrax drafts curriculum changes. Chaos Engineering 101 Terran faculty. Survival logistics, from paper clips to planets. Psychology of ingenuity, co-taught by Volk, promoted to adjunct. Galactic scholars rush to enroll. Waiting list tops 40,000 within an hour. 6 months later, the gate now pulses above Arcturus 4 like a colossal silver heartbeat. It services 10 new routes, each stamped TS class for Terran stabilized. Transit accidents drop by 96%. A hollow poster spreads across space lanes. A grinning human toddler with a toy wrench, captioned, "Hire a human? Your impossible is their play date." Inside the Academy's sky garden, Dean Syrax sits on a bench of living crystal. Lena joins him, offers coffee strong enough to etch steel. He sips, mandibles curling in acquired appreciation. Dr. Ortiz, do you realize your species altered the Council's power balance overnight? She swings her boots. Nah, we just hate seeing good hardware go boom. Syrax gazes at the gate. Its gentle glow reflects in multifaceted eyes once clouded by certainty. I was wrong. About what? About thinking unpredictability was a flaw. Lena grins. Best features rarely look tidy. A silence, comfortable cosmic settles. Stars arc overhead, connected now by human-tuned bridges. Trade booms, cultures mingle, and somewhere a Praxian arms dealer files for bankruptcy while a Terran street artist doodles wormholes on sidewalk chalk. The universe learns a lesson etched deeper than gravity. Underestimate Earth at your peril. Because when reality itself wobbles, the apex tool-using, problem-chewing, duct tape-toting ape will grin, roll up its sleeves, and make the impossible behave.